just to jump into the features of anything that you think would be worthwhile in a dishwasher in terms of the more modern
Yeah.
features, or anything that's maybe more of a hassle or is only appropriate for very certain, uses.
I think one feature that may cause some issues with folks, depending on where you live, because most everything on a dishwasher is pretty legit. It serves a purpose. But most dishwashers have an auto sense or auto wash or a smart wash feature. That's really great because it actually monitors how dirty the water is. It monitors water temperature to where it'll actually adjust the wash time, sometimes a lot shorter if your dishes are getting clean faster. Great way to save time and energy. But if you live in an area that has hard water, and if you're not sure, you can actually buy little test strips offline and you just stick it in the water and it'll tell you how hard your water is. The lens of that sensor, it doesn't take but a few months for it to start to build up with the hard water deposits and things like that. So it's not that accurate once it starts to get all that gunk on it. So that is something to kind of look out for if you use a smart feature. For 6 months, and all of a sudden now everything's taking longer. You may just do like a light or a normal cycle. But the hotter a dishwasher washes, the better it cleans and the better it dries. So features like sanitize or a sani rinse or a high temp wash, especially if you're washing really heavily soiled dishes, it's really good to use those. It can add even an extra hour and a half onto a cycle, but beats washing them by hand, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And just to note on that, so in our washer episode, we were talking about how you don't really need, the soaps these days are made for lower temperature washes. But with the dishwashers, it's still true that generally the hotter the better. If you're dealing with maybe greasy pots and things.
Yeah, for sure. Most water heaters are set at about 120 degrees, maybe 125 on the higher end. And it is recommended, even in most user manuals for the dishwasher, to have it around 120. And most soap is designed to kind of function around that temperature. So yeah, you definitely want to make sure you have that. Make sure you've got nice hot water coming into the dishwasher. Typically, the kitchen sink and the dishwasher share a hot line. So if your hot water on your sink is real nice and steamy, most likely you're getting the right kind of temperature to the dishwasher.
Yeah, good stuff.
Now, something interesting with the soap, the softer the water is, the less soap that you have to use. So most dishwashers, when you open the dispenser, there's two compartments. There's kind of a larger one and a smaller one. The smaller one is like a pre-wash, and the larger one is the main wash. So if you live in an area with real soft, good water, you really don't need to fill them up. I mean, just, maybe halfway, or maybe even just throw one dishwasher tablet in there if you're using the little pods to do it. But if you live in an area with hard water, not only do you want to fill those all the way up, but it may not be a bad idea to have a small cup of vinegar in your dishwasher upright, just so it could release as it washes to just kind of help clean and help dry. You definitely want to make sure that you do have rinse aid, and that it's turned to the max with hot water. It's a lot harder for it to do its job well with harder water.
Yeah, well, it's really one of these things that I guess if you're living in a place with hard water, you really start to feel the impact of it, especially as it builds on all the effects of all your water intake sources, really.
Yeah, where I'm at here in West Texas, eastern New Mexico area, when I did get one of those kits to measure how hard my own water was, it was like kind of off the chart. Yeah, it's so hard. What we find, especially when people don't do maintenance, is the holes on the spray arm, they start to clog. Just everything in general starts to clog, and it could get to a point where it's not really feasible to repair because it's just so clogged up. And so yeah, just without doing regular maintenance, living in a hard water area, you could reduce the life of your dishwasher easily by half.
Right, yeah. Is there any extra sort of emphasis you'd place for someone who's in a particularly hard water area? As in, just would you recommend kind of trying to get into the water valves or anything like that regularly?
There is a screen where your house water hooks to the dishwasher. It can get clogged. It's not really as common. And sometimes removing that can open yourself up to leaks and stuff like that. Well, the two things you want to do if you have hard water is before you put your soap in the dispenser, just put a little bit of regular salt, table salt, whatever, maybe even just a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons. You really can't put too much. I just kind of eyeball it every time I fill mine up. But put some salt in there, then put your soap, and that's just going to soften the water as it's washing. and just let it work a little easier. And then the other bit of advice is to get something, maybe like a teacup, or maybe something that can hold a fourth a cup of water, a half a cup of water. Fill it with regular vinegar and place it upright in the top rack. And so as it fills throughout the washes, it'll add water, it'll overflow, and so it's kind of slowly releasing vinegar throughout the wash. And that also helps it clean and dry as
Great.
well. Yeah, doing those two things make a really big difference for hard water areas.
Nice one. Yeah, that's really important to know. You're actually making me think that maybe we should almost do a series for people with hard water, for their dishwasher, their washer, and any other kind of water things.
Oh yeah, for
It'd be,
sure.
yeah, really critical to know. It's something that's fine until you realize it's gone too far, and then yeah, as you were saying, it's pretty much a got out job.
Most people know that they have hard water, especially if they grow up in an area. But say you're moving to an area and you're not sure if you have hard water, a really good indication is look at any appliance or any faucet where water's coming out of it, and you'll see a bunch of white build up around it. And, that's what the hard water, the old the water dispenser on the fridge, you'll see just that constant stain of white, coming down where the deposits are left and everything.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, crazy the difference it makes.